Quando você ouve um podcast, está procurando entretenimento ou conhecimento, certo? E se você procura por desempenho e qualidade para o seu veículo, qual a sua escolha? Os amortecedores Motorcraft têm tecnologia Ford e oferecem uma condução suave para uma viagem tranquila e segura. Escolha a confiabilidade dos amortecedores Motorcraft, válidos para a linha K, Fiesta, EcoSport e muito mais. Quando terminar seu podcast, é só acessar a loja da Ford no Mercado Livre e experimentar a diferença.
Quer desenvolver os talentos da sua equipe e potencializar os resultados da sua empresa? Conte com a expertise do atendimento corporativo do Senac São Paulo, que já capacitou mais de 1 milhão de pessoas e profissionais de instituições públicas, privadas e terceiro setor. Construa uma equipe altamente motivada e capacitada e destaque-se no mercado. Entre em contato, acesse sp.senac.br/corporativo e saiba mais. Quer saber? Senac.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode, and I've got a very special guest for you today, Aurora Winter, MBA, and she's an entrepreneur, she's an author, and she's built several seven-figure companies. She's been featured on TV, radio, podcasts. Communication is the foundation. So today we're going to be talking all about turning words into wealth, 7 ways to make 7 figures as a thought leader, her book, and how she supports female entrepreneurs. So I'm really happy to welcome Aurora to the show and get this podcast started. So Aurora, welcome.
Oh, it's great to be on the show with you, Christopher. It's so great that you're spreading the message of financial freedom. And I look forward to helping the listeners turn their words into wealth today and maybe do a little magic and turn their fantasies or their dreams into reality.
Yeah, I really love scouring the globe for entrepreneurs, and the internet's enabled that. And talk about so I love your mantra, which is communication in words, and talk about how fiction can change your reality in a good way using words.
Well, I think everything is twice created. So how fiction creates reality is first you need the blueprint, whether it's a goal or a vision board, or whether it's actual fiction, books of fiction that you're reading, everything is twice created. So the first manifestation is fiction. I've just finished writing a fantasy series called Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse. The first book is available wide, and if you're interested in Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse, it's available on Kickstarter. Book 2 is coming out on Kickstarter. And one of the reasons I wrote it was to hopefully influence reality. I've been very moved and affected, as many people have, by books like 1984 or Fahrenheit 451. Books can change how we think about what's possible and also how we consider what we want to avoid. So in Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse, I talk about the freedom of speech. The evil people are censors who cut out people's tongues. And so it dramatizes the importance of freedom of speech. I think COVID helped me realize that it was time for me to write the fantasy book that I'd wanted to write for a long time. And it also made me realize how passionate I am about free speech and how I want to help people avoid the cancel culture. So I'm hoping that Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse will do at least a little part in helping change reality. What about you, Christopher? Have you read books that have changed how you think about things?
Well, I mean, those obviously, 1984 and more like, for example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that really that shifted my reality. There's a book called The Fourth Turning, which really talks about the problems that America is facing and the emergence of China, kind of the decline of the dollar's dominance on the global stage. But what's really, one of the really it's so when like works of fiction, like movie or books can really impact you. For example, The Matrix with Keanu.
I was just thinking The Matrix. Or the song Roar by Katy Perry. It helps. Sometimes it's a warning like The Matrix, and sometimes it's encouraging. Yes. And I invite all of us, like before we create something in our business or in our thought leadership or even in our stock portfolio, first we have to imagine that it's possible. And words are a way to cement that, to create that intention. So, for example, this morning, my affirmation was, my mind holds only what I think with God. So that's a very powerful affirmation because it basically says no to all my fear and doubt and whatever. And it just says yes to whatever is in the highest and best good for all concerned. So as you create goals, write them down. They may be fiction when you're starting, but that's okay. Everything's twice created. It helps create the blueprint. And it actually, the neuroscience, I love neuroscience. I study neuroscience. I used to think only to express the positive things, and I wouldn't say what I was afraid of. But actually, in terms of achieving your goals, it's good to say what you're shooting for and also what you are wanting to avoid. And then you've got the carrot pulling you forward and the stick, helping you avoid. But also, I think that fiction, my background's in film and television, so I have a lot of experience with drama. In fact, the BBC have expressed interest in turning Magic Mystery and the Multiverse into a TV series. We'll see if we can make that happen. But I think fiction is a delightful way to introduce people to concepts without preaching at them or knocking them over their head. Like hopefully in an entertaining and engaging story like Animal Farm or 1984 or my fantasy books, you can offer people the chance to consider a possibility and go, yes, I want that, or oh no, let's not go there.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I actually have a colleague who does very similar thing as you. She talks about the problems in healthcare through a fictional narrative, through characters, which, brings me to my next question is, this impact of technology on communication and creativity. We've got ChatGPT, and you also mentioned Kickstarter, which I'm really interested to hear about how that shapes the future of creative industries.
Well, let's talk about Kickstarter really quickly. So one thing I really love as an author is the opportunity to add more value to my community and create more of a connection. And while I'm grateful for Amazon and all the other book distribution platforms, they don't really foster a relationship between the author and the reader. And they also just allow you to offer the one thing plain Jane. Whereas with Kickstarter, I've got I love this cover designer. I think he did a great job. I had him design full color art for all the main characters. He's designed the other covers for the next two books in this series, which are called The Secret Multiverse Academy and The Deadly Asphyxiator. They're for young adults, but I think most people will enjoy them. And so I can offer bookmarks, or I can offer beautiful hardcover books with full color interior, and people can choose. And they can, even if they want to, they can take a course about how to write and get my support one-on-one. Also with Kickstarter, I can thank and acknowledge all the people who supported the book, and I can put their name in the acknowledgements. Or who knows, I'm toying with the idea of even allowing somebody to say, hey, name a character after me. So there's fun and interesting and engaging things you can do on Kickstarter. The current approach for authors who are really in the business of publishing is first you do a Kickstarter, then you launch your book at full price on the retailers, and then eventually your book can end up on the Kindle Unlimited, where you make the least amount of money but may reach a broader audience. So I'm trying it for the first time. If you'd love to at least see what I'm doing, you can follow for free if you go to Kickstarter and just search Magic Mystery in the Multiverse. Then you too can participate, and you don't have to buy anything and just kind of see what's happening. So Kickstarter is really great. Now, you also mentioned, Christopher, you were talking about AI. So I think AI is here. No matter what you think, you can be afraid and run away, but I think AI can be extremely useful for doing the things that you don't like to do. For example, a friend of mine said he had to fire somebody. He was a doctor and he had to fire somebody, and he's like, I hate writing those kind of letters. And ChatGPT helped him do that. Or somebody else I know who's a real estate agent, she said, I used to agonize over descriptions of the house I'm selling. Now I just put, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, into chat, and it gives me several different options. So I think we can use ChatGPT or other AI platforms to help accelerate processes or do something that would be almost impossible to do quickly. For example, I fed the manuscript for this book and the next book in the fantasy series into a platform called authors.ai. And within about 10 minutes, it had analyzed the structure, and it allowed me to very quickly see, after reading it 12 times, it was hard for me to see the forest for the trees, allowed me to see, okay, this part might need to be tightened. That's a bit too slow. This part is too fast. Maybe you want to move some stuff from there and there. And then it also said, oh, this book has kind of got the same kind of structure as Stephen King's book. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going in the right direction. So let's take advantage of AI. And I think we also have to double down on being human. I love the podcaster Joanna Penn. Her podcast is The Creative Pen. And she's always saying, double down on being human. So I want to acknowledge that's where it came from. And I think in the age of AI, everybody's going to get very quickly bored of reading generic content. So when I'm working with clients in the spoken author process, which is how I help people write books, I'm like, what's your story? Why do you care about this? What, were the bumps along the way? And nobody else has their story. Nobody else has your story. So double down on being human. What do you think? How are you using AI, Christopher? And what do you recommend for people to double down on or avoid?
Well, I think AI is one of those things. But how I've used it, it's 7x my output. So it's really, cut down also on the number of middlemen. So I have this tech stack now where I can get a podcast recorded and released with very minimal need for, it's mostly software now. So it's much more faster, efficient, more effective. My following's just, exponential. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't learn how to use it, you're going to be left behind. So it's something that you just have to learn. It's like a skill.
I like the meme that is, it's not AI who's going to take our jobs. It's the people who know how to use AI that are going to take your job or cut into your market share of your business. Yeah, exactly. But one of the popular nonfiction books I've written is called Turn Words into Wealth, Blueprint for Your Business, Brand, and Book. And it's all about 7 different ways to create 7 figures as a thought leader or an expert. So I think anybody who has a particular kind of expertise, as of course most of your listeners do, and as you do, Christopher, are very well served to become authors. You're the author of 4 books, so I know I'm preaching to the choir here. But, most people appreciate the value of having a PhD or an MBA or an MD. And it's the same thing with being a published author. The root of the word authority is author. So while anybody could become an author, just like anybody could get an MBA, or almost anybody could, if they worked hard enough, become an MD, there's so much work involved, and that most people who are not of a certain caliber never finish their book. So why not consider becoming a published author? Amazon is the number 3 search engine. And what I really like about having a nonfiction book on Amazon, if your book title is very clear and it indicates what is the problem that you solve, you can attract people from around the world. And unlike interrupting people on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, people on Amazon are looking for the solution to a problem, typically already have their credit card installed. It's easy to buy a $20 book, but you could be surprised that $20 book sale can easily lead to the next investment being several $1,000s with you. So that's been my experience. People read my book, Turn Words into Wealth, or they read another one of my books and they're like, oh, I'd like to talk to Aurora, and they can talk to me for free. Just go to my website and sign up for a breakthrough business session. And then if I can help them, and if I have the solution to their problem, then they can invest several $1,000s for the next step. So if I can do it, you can too. I don't know if that's how you're using your books, Christopher, but if you have some kind of expertise and you can solve a problem, definitely a nonfiction book is the way to go. Being a public speaker or a consultant is the highest paid profession. So I also have people that I help with their fiction books, and that can help them launch their business to the next level. How about you? How are you using your books? Are you using them as lead magnets? Or are you just generously helping people solve problems about how to diversify income streams or how to leave their own lucrative medical practice as you did?
Well, it's really a way to, and it's got sort of several functions. So one is to enhance your brand. If you say you're an author, kind of the passive income is fine, but it's not, but it leads to more like clients, coaching clients, consulting assignments, speaking engagements, which is a big thing. And, great lead magnet as well. You can give it to, guests for free as well. Yeah. And, it's basically a great tool to build relationship capital and get that social capital juices flowing. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly right. Well, I helped this doctor with his book. He's a Stanford medical professor. He's also a pediatric anesthesiologist, which is such a hard word to say. It's called Gain Without Pain, the Happiness Handbook for Healthcare Professionals. And it's Dr. Greg Hammer. And after helping him write that book, then he probably 10x'd his speaking engagements. He speaks at Oxford and Princeton and obviously Stanford. And now, he's of a certain age that he really wants to give back. So it's very meaningful for him to spread this message of how to gain without pain.
Love that. How can people find you and reach out to you? And what advice do you have for entrepreneurs wanting to diversify and leverage their personal stories and professional experience in this process?
Well, I really recommend that entrepreneurs consider becoming published authors. If you have already got a 6-figure business, and certainly if you've got a 7-figure business, if you don't already have a book as a lead magnet, you're really missing something. There was a really wonderful book that you may have read, Christopher, called Significant Objects. And in that book, they presented data that showed me, wow, the value of a story is amazing. So they put 100 different distinct objects on eBay with a story and without a story. And they even said they were transparent what they were doing. And the stories were not sales pitches. The stories just added significance. Like, these are my grandmother's pot mitts. I remember when I would come home from school and she would have chocolate chip cookies. Like, doesn't really give me any more value when I use the pot mitts that I buy on eBay, but it adds significance, right? Yeah. And the value of adding significance by adding a story was that those 100 distinct objects on eBay sold for 27 times more. 27 times more. This is not a minor difference. So by sharing, you may think, well, you've lived your life. Who cares about your story? But we want to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. We want expertise. Yes, lots of people lead with their expertise, but we don't trust people until we know who they are and what they've been through. So by sharing your humanity, that's what I like to share. Humanity plus expertise equals trust. Trust is how business moves quickly, and potentially you could 10x your business by having the right combination. So I invite people to start thinking about, what is the problem that you solve? We can make some notes right here, right now. What is the biggest problem that you solve? What are at least 3 reasons that people don't solve that problem? What are the myths, in other words, that you need to bust? Or what are the objections that you need to handle? And write those down. And then think about the benefits of the problem that you solve and the benefits within the benefits. Before you know it, you're going to have a list of 10 points that are really important. And if people knew these things, if they knew the 3 biggest adversities in your life that you overcome, if they knew the 1 reason that you care so much about your mission, whatever it is, and if they knew these things that are myths that you need to bust, or stories of people that you've helped and the lives that you've changed, before you know it, you've got a book there. And I'd love to help you if you are already a successful entrepreneur or thought leader. You can go to aurorawinter.com or turnwordsintowealth.com and sign up for a business breakthrough call. And if you're not ready to talk to me yet, you can just get some free videos that will explain, 5 ways to attract capital, clients, and media coverage. Now, I don't help everyone. I only help people who are committed to making a difference to a world. I only help people who already have a business or could have a business back end, because my commitment is I like people to have a 10x return on their investment on working with me. So I don't help people with poetry or just their project that they just want to give to their grandchildren. You can get help somewhere else with that. But if you're an entrepreneur or a thought leader and you'd like help with your fiction or nonfiction book, you can go to samepagepublishing.com, find out more, and get some free resources and sign up for a business breakthrough call. So I haven't even gotten to the 7 different ways to make 7 figures with your book yet. I don't know how much more time we have to take a poke into that. What did you want to talk about next, Christopher?
Oh, so it sounds like you've given all your all of your resources will be in the links and show notes. And what we do is for really exceptional guests such as yourself, we have a part 2, we have webinars, so maybe, and then live streams as well. So and thanks so much for coming on and sharing your expertise and leveraging it and talking about how to incorporate stories into building your brand.
Oh, you're so welcome, Christopher. And I hope that the audience takes action and starts turning their words into